Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Ramble. In this one, I want to have sort of a continuation of what I was talking about in the previous Ramble about combat achievements. I received a bunch of comments, and I've also streamed, and so many people have come up and kind of continued on that conversation about combat achievements. Now, there was a pretty good split of people that surprisingly agreed with me, even in the comment section. I was genuinely expecting like 90% of people to just be like, dude, Sebe, like, chill, bro, chill. But no, a lot of people do feel similarly. And like I was saying in the video, this game is very subjective. People like different things in the game. And one of the ideas I really liked in the comment section was a sort of trimmed Zuck helm. I think that's really cool. I think the idea of having like some red glowing eyes or something to signify that you've actually achieved all the tasks and not just achieved your Zuck helm once could be a cool addition. Some people also said maybe you just can't wear the Zuck helmet at all. That was one of the ideas, but you keep all your rewards as long as you've achieved it one time. So this Ramble is not all about this continuation, but it kind of led into, just earlier in my stream today, led into the conversation of a completionist cape, or comp cape as I'll call it here. So a comp cape is a thing in RS3 where it's just you have to have maxed, you have to have completed like all the mini games and all these things, and maybe have all pets or whatnot to obtain a comp cape. Now, it's loosely defined. I guess the community would decide what actually entails obtaining a comp cape or a trimmed comp cape in the future. Now, I have been relatively outspoken on this topic over the past couple of years about the dangers of a comp cape coming into the game. I'll be the first to admit, the comp capes I see on Twitter, like the design of it, looks fucking sick. It looks amazing. Looks so sexy. A lot of people would love to be able to reach for that, but there's just some severe consequences that would happen by introducing a comp cape, and it's on a more extreme level than we've seen with combat achievements. So what I mean by that is if there was to be a comp cape introduced, what it would do to the community's mindset is it would make it so every update becomes a chore and a hassle. So, and it would include a lot of things. I mean, because who knows what the comp cape would actually entail? Maybe it's like complete, like green log certain things. Who knows? But let's just say a low level mini game comes out and you've lost your comp cape that you obtained. And well, now you're going to have a bunch of resentment for this new update that came out. And in fact, the more you experience this kind of resentment of new updates coming out that aren't even catered toward you as a player because you're such high level, it's going to, at least I can imagine this is what's going to happen, is people will start voting no to lower and mid-level content coming into the game, because a lot of high levels with comp capes are going to recognize, if this comes into the game, I'm going to have to do this shit. I don't want to do it. I've already done all this low-level stuff. This is going to be pointless for my account, and I don't want it in the game, so I'm going to vote no to it. So there's going to be a lot of, not necessarily spite voting, but just like voting no because you know you're going to have to get involved in it. I don't know if that's, maybe that's spite voting. I guess that's might be what it's called. But that is a big worry to me. And a lot of people can obviously see that, but people say, well, the pros outweigh the cons. The pros of having this amazing comp cape is going to be so cool. And guess what? I like doing all the content. And so I'm going to get this. Well, you might be that special person that genuinely just enjoys anything that comes out and you're going to just love it. And you're that comp cape person. But if there's any sort of rewards attached to the comp cape, which there for sure will be, there's two different ways to kind of see this: a comp cape coming out that's just cosmetic, and then there's one that is cosmetic with a few extra perks or something, which, let's be honest, it would probably have some perks, just like the max cape does, just like CAs do. People would be really disappointed to work super, super hard for a comp cape and get no benefit out of it. It's just how the player base kind of sees it. And so the consequences would be people spite voting no. Now, over the years, I've offered solutions to this, and one of them is just do not come out with a comp cape, but instead come out with a collection log book, a wieldable collection log book that can signify how much of a badass you are at collection logs. And Mod Husky has already gone out of his way through Game Jam to design a sort of wieldable collection log plus a staff with the wieldable book kind of floating. And it's pretty thematic. He has decided to go from bronze up to dragon rank. Now, there's a few problems with that in my opinion, and I'll just address it right now. Even though it thematically fits because we have that similar system with leagues where you hit a certain amount of points and you get the certain trophy, with a system like the collection log, and this is something I was bringing up in the last video of, your accomplishments being stripped away from you, the rewards, the things getting stripped away from you doesn't feel good. So my solution to a potential comp cape, but for the collection log, so a wieldable collection log book, would be to just have a collection log book upgrade every 100 clogs. So once you hit 100 clogs, you have a book with the Roman numeral I on it. Once you hit 500 clogs, you would have one with V on it, and so on and so forth. So once you hit 1,000, you have an X, and if you hit 1,500, you have an XV. That's super, super badass. And then as soon as we get above that 1,600 threshold, a little bit above it, we're going to have people like Marnie and Casey and whoever else is up there on the top clog leaderboards hit that 1,600, that XVI. It's just going to be beautiful to see. And the coolest part about it is it actually encourages new updates rather than people getting butthurt over every update. Because whenever new updates come out, that means there's going to be new clogs. And so that means you can hit that next threshold. But the thresholds are never changing. They're always just every 100. So you're always feeling like you're getting a certain amount of progress, and you always feel like you've solidified that progress. It's done. Like you have as soon as you hit 1,000 clogs, you have the X book. It's never going to be stripped away from you. It's not going to be taken away from you because you've already accomplished it. And the books actually just continue upward over time. And I think that's a much more beautiful system. It just doesn't have all the flaws with you constantly losing stuff. Let's just say you don't play in the summer, you don't play at certain points in the year, and then you log back in, you've lost some of your progress. Like, God damn it, I have to go back and do it. That's what we see with CAs. I don't know how you would change CAs to be a system like the collection logs. So the collection logs are just a lot more simple. There is no Grandmaster collection log thing. So it would be amazing to hear, by the way, if anybody does have a cool idea for how they could kind of implement that system with combat achievements, just completely rethink how combat tasks are. I'm not saying they need to rethink combat tasks. I'm totally willing to accept combat tasks being the way they are. The whole reason for my last ramble was just to straight up share how I feel about it. It stresses me out. Also, I just want to add one point, which is, some people in the comments were saying, well, that's not actually the reason you quit Sebe. There was other reasons you mentioned in, your squat cam episode 1 video. And it is true. The title, kind of misrepresented. It's not the only reason I quit Sebe, but it's the biggest reason why I'm stressed out to log into Sebe. And it's my own problem. I admitted that in the last video. There's other reasons why I don't enjoy logging into Sebe, but I'm not stressed out about these other reasons. It's simply just the grinds are super, super, super long, and the dopamine hits are just non-existent in a lot of areas, such as skilling. When you're already maxed, getting XP just doesn't feel that good. So that's just kind of the point of getting to an end game, is things are just really, really sluggish. And I actually do kind of enjoy that. I did enjoy it for years. Just endless progress. It felt good. But I think the accumulation of the stress that is now CA is just this continuous stress ball that I kind of have to take advantage of because I like that kind of completionist side of the game of endlessly completing things, just takes it away. So CA is the reason, and I just want to just clump this all into a ball of the real reason I don't like CAs. It's not that, people will just say it's because you suck at the game and that's why you don't want to do CAs. It's really not about that. It's not about me sucking at the game. It's just the fact that something I've achieved is stripped away from me. That is just the essence of it. Something that you achieve being stripped away from you. And then people say, oh, what about Quest Cape? What about when the Karen Diary came out? Well, the Karen Diary coming out, was, you just know that's not a continuous thing, and so you just kind of accept it. With CAs, if it was just a once a year thing, which a lot of people were opposed in the comments, I just recommended, let's just say it was once a year. Maybe it was just, every 6 months even. But even if it was just once a year, it would feel better to know, okay, I got a full year to relax. Even that would be better. So when sailing comes out, okay, it's been over a decade. It'll have been 12 or 13 years by that point where you never had to worry about reobtaining your max cape, and now you do. By the way, let me just say, I'm sorry, I'm going on like so many different tangents right here, but like I'm worried about sailing with the loss of a max cape for some players because, and I mentioned this on my stream, even if the J mods perfectly execute sailing, I mean, like, it's a universally loved skill. It's like the best skill by a mile. Somehow they just absolutely nail everything about it. Now, who knows what that would actually look like, but just imagine sailing comes out and it is just perfect, like as perfect as it possibly could be for the majority of players. People would still be butthurt over it because some people will not want to grind sailing for 100 hours or however many hours it is straight. They'd rather go back to the content they actually enjoy, but they've lost their max cape and all their perks. So they now feel forced to do sailing. And unfortunately, you know, that is going to just not be a good feeling for a lot of players. Now, I wouldn't say I'm even in that camp necessarily. I actually think I'm looking forward to sailing just because it is fun. You know, that'll be fun to train. But it's just, you got to see the wider perspective of people not wanting to get involved in sailing or wanting to do their other goals, but now feel absolutely obligated to drop everything they're doing and do this skill for 100 hours. I'm just saying 100 hours. It might be, who knows, 60 hours. It might be 200 hours. We'll see how long it takes to actually grind to 99 sailing. But the fact that you'll lose so many perks that you have, you know, come to absolutely just get addicted to, all the max cape perks, then having all of that thrown away until you achieve 99 sailing is going to make people grind 99 sailing with resentment. Like that's how it'll feel. It's the same reason that people hate Huey. People hate the Huey Codal because they didn't actually want to grind Huey, and there was no reason for them to other than to re-achieve their Zuck helm, or other than to, well, that was pretty much it, to achieve their Zuck helm or potentially get a pet. Pets have always had this kind of issue. I think the pros outweigh the cons in the pets department, but something like Huey would have been an absolute banger of an update. I think it was a super well-designed boss. I think it was perfect for mid-level. The only problem I really have with it is just the crafting level that's required to craft that hide, because by the time you have that crafting level, like, you're just going to go get Masori or something. But still, it's still cool. But so many people shit on it because they have this resentment toward it because they had to grind it when they didn't want to grind it. It was like forced upon them. So these kind of things, you know, these updates that you feel required, you feel forced to do it just to get back to what you wanted to do, is bad in some ways. Now, again, these can all be weighed. The pros and cons can be weighed. Some people don't see it that way. This is all subjective. It's a video game at the end of the day. I'm just making these rambles to state how I feel about the current state of the game and the fear of just going back to the comp cape. Comp cape, I think, would be a really bad idea for this game, even though the cape looks dope. I think a better route to go down would be that collection logbook I was kind of just saying earlier. And I do think that every 100 leveling up is a much better system than the ranks always changing, where dragon rank is, it's like 1350 now. We added some more, so now it's like 1372 to get, we added some more. Now it's 1403 to get it, so you just keep losing your dragon rank repeatedly. One other thing I want to say just after saying that is, maybe the devs intentionally do these things, or they see it as, maybe they have a broader sense of, what keeps players around, what's going to, line the shareholders' pockets more. And that'll be, okay, well, if people keep losing their stuff, they'll come back to the game and reobtain it. But I don't know. That's just like not a good feeling. It just sucks. Again, I feel that way. Not everyone feels that way, but a lot of people do. I'm included in that. So anyway, I just wanted to make this kind of ramble, just sharing some more thoughts on these kinds of things. Let me know if you guys have any further thoughts on this, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.